everybody, and welcome to another episode of Phil on the Mic, a double Luge episode of Phil on the Mic. I am, as always, am your host, Darrin Michael, and with me today, I don't know if everybody knew this, but today is actually Phil's 40th birthday. So we brought in...
Happy birthday, Phil.
He had to take off an entire week. I mean, what the hell? I mean, come on, just because you turned 40. But today, we have a special guest with us today. A true celebrity, a true movie star. You might know him from such incredible, memorable, non-speaking roles as a teacher in Stranger Things, a camera guy in Iron Man 3, gold person in Guardians of the Galaxy, and our favorite, the super tall zombie in season 2 of The Walking Dead, Mr. Zach Bennett. Zach, welcome to the show.
Thanks, man. It's good to be here. It's good to be here. I'm excited.
You are the first actual fill-in, no pun intended, fill-in host on the show, man. I'm excited. I'm really excited to have you here. And you are our NBA expert. I mean, as we can see by your background, I guess you're a Bulls fan for some odd reason, but that's good.
It's a good team to like. You know, we have a great color scheme.
That you do. Got a nice history, you know.
A nice history. The GOAT played for our team, you know. I'm from Chicago, so I love all things Chicago. Their food, the city. I love shopping. I mean, Magnificent Mile. I mean, it's a great place. And, you know, I haven't been in like 15 years though, but it's been a minute. The last time I was there, it felt like home, you know, because I didn't get to go to a basketball game, but I did get to go to the United Center for a hockey game. Sorry.
Nice.
And that was amazing.
Nice.
It's amazing.
Nice.
There's no better fans in Chicago.
Oh, it's a great town. I'm from outside Chicago too, initially. And when did I get back there? A few years ago. I know I took my wife to Chicago because we were all about a pizza from a place called Uno Pizza, right?
I know that place. Yep.
Yeah. Oh, delicious pizza, right? So
amazing.
So we used to, when we lived in New Jersey, we used to get it all the time. There was one right by where we lived. We went to Chicago. We were all excited. We're like, oh my God, we're going to go to the original Uno Pizza. This is going to be awesome, right?
Yeah.
We go there and it was like completely different than all the other Uno Pizza we had. It was, it was.
Was it the thin crust?
It was a letdown. No, it was the thick crust.
Okay.
But it didn't have any cheese on it. I'm like, what is this? It was very, very odd to me. So anyway, it is what it is. Welcome to the show, man. I'm excited.
Thank you.
For everybody anybody listening to this doesn't even know how we met. Zach and I actually play on an old man's basketball league, a 40 and over basketball league, you know, and it's a lot of fun. You want to tell everybody? You want to tell everybody what you think of the league?
It's got me hyped for basketball again. For someone who loves the sport and loves the game so much, that has like everything about myself is promoting basketball. Like I say, it's one of the hardest sports to play, if anything to learn. And once you do and you're good at it, it's so hard not to want to keep playing it. Like as you know, an NBA player, when they're trying to hang up their shoes, I can see how hard it is for somebody who's that skilled. Like obviously you and I are nowhere near that, you know, in our dreams, you know. We wished we wanted to be like Mike.
There we go.
I had to put him on there at least once. Hopefully
I love it.
Not copyrighted. But you know, it is what it is, you know, and basketball is just it's phenomenal. Like it's a culture. Today I you know, for our league, I got new slides. Can I show you? Can I show them?
Yeah. We can.
One second.
We can try to see them. We'll keep our fingers crossed. You know, we.
So I know this is a podcast and they're listening, so they can't see it. But if they watch the virtual one,
they can.
I grabbed some Jordan slides from the 90s.
Of course you didn't see that coming.
Yeah, so it was like a dead giveaway. So I was like, I had to up my slide game, you know, from like when I felt like I was playing in college. Because it takes you back, you know, and it makes you like really remember the joy of playing, you know, and meeting people and just, you know, being in the thick of it, you know, with who knows who. I mean, we played some pastors. We played some former pros. We met your friend John Barry, who you're like best of friends with.
We're very tight. We're very tight.
Very tight. You know, those selfies you guys were taking were funny. I mean, I joined in too, so I can't
say right.
But,
listen, I mean, it's not every day that you get to play against a guy that played in the NBA for 15 years.
No, not at all.
And you know what? I think back to our championship game that we were in last year, where half the team played overseas for like a dozen years, and their big guy in the middle that you knew, I think he was crushing you in the middle, and then
absolutely.
and then he decided to come out and chase after me when I was shooting a couple three. He actually blocked 2 3-pointers of mine. I don't even remember the last time somebody blocked a 3-pointer.
Right.
So it was a fun season. Like we played really well last season.
Yeah,
but
it was fun.
You get up against a team that really doesn't belong in the league, and it is what it is. It is what it is. So anyway, the season starts again March 8th.
Can't wait.
And we are going to be pumped. We're going to be ready to go. We're going to kick some ass. I'm looking for your. I can't wait. You've promised me, and I'm putting it out there.
Oh no.
You're going to do a 360 slam in the first game. So, man, I'm so pumped for that.
I don't know about the 360 slam, but I told you I am working on a Euro step that hopefully will not break my knees.
Let's keep our fingers crossed, man. That is, Euro step is great. You don't see it very often, but if you could perfect that, actually in our league, they're going to call that a walk every time. So you got to.
Or I could draw the foul on the guy every time and just foul everybody out. That would be awesome.
We'll do what we'll do what we can. We'll do what we can. But I want to talk a lot of Super Bowl and a lot of NBA stuff. But I want to start off with something that I saw that was very, very odd to me. And I don't know. Have you watched any Olympics at all?
Slim and none.
Okay, it's like most of us.
Sorry,
if you're flipping channels and nothing's on, and it's like, the Olympics, I might as well check it out. Well,
yeah,
I saw something the other day, and it was just the strangest thing. You tell me if you know what this is, the double luge. Have you ever seen that?
It's the one where they have the two guys and they push the luge. I don't even know what it's called.
Yeah, whatever.
And then they jump in, right? One's behind the other and they sit behind you, right?
Oh, no. That's the 2-man bobsled. This is a little different. It's a little different. What it is you got the bobsled, you got the luge, and you got the skeleton. Okay, the bobsled is where you sit there, and there's 2 to 4 people in it.
Yeah.
The skeleton is where you're on like this sled thing, and you're laying on your stomach, head first, going 75 miles an hour. It's crazy. The luge is the single person luge. It's kind of like the same sled, and instead of facing forward, it's feet first.
Oh yeah. Okay. I got you.
Okay. So So double luge is literally you got the one person laying down, and then the other person is literally laying on top of them. Okay. So just imagine. Strange. Okay. Just imagine strange. So here's a couple. I just want to give you 3 quotes that I heard that I read online about this. Okay. One was, I saw a headline about men's double luge today, and I realized it was a real Olympic event and not an Onion article. I thought that was pretty clever, right? Because
that's a good one.
It doesn't make any sense, right?
To me, when you're talking about those, though, it reminds me of like something that somebody would do in Jackass.
That's what it is, right?
TV. Like they would you have like Steve-O laying on top of one of those guys.
Yeah.
And
that's exactly right.
Into something.
But it's real. If you're gonna hurtle yourself down an ice slide at 75 miles an hour, you might as well do it while awkwardly lying on top of your mate. I like that one too.
That's a good one.
and then my the final one was, I'm not sure why doubles luge exists, but the fact it does certainly entertains me to no end.
I'm gonna have to check it out now.
So I actually have a description. This is the official description. Okay. It's just luge. Only one guy is laying on top of another.
Right.
A lot of sports have really specific rules for doubles. Luge is not one of those sports. It literally only exists because at some point in time, one guy looked at another guy while they were about to go luging and said, "Hey, want to go together?" So you could imagine, like like you're the first guy is down, like you're the guy that's on top, you're sitting on the other guy, you're midway through and you're like, dude,
this is a bad idea.
Something's poking me in the back here that
This is a
makes
bad
me
idea.
feel really uncomfortable. Like
Yeah.
you'll have to look it up. You have to look
I
up the
will.
pictures because the pictures are what does it justice. It's the most ridiculous thing that you will ever see. And yeah, you'll think that it's like a Jackass thing, except on Jackass they'll probably have like 4 guys on top of each other,
Yeah,
and
totally pancake.
And they'll all be naked, so it'll be like really ridiculous,
right.
And I mean, just crazy. So I thought that was funny, but anyway, let's talk some Super Bowl, man. Did you watch the whole game? You watched the whole game? Okay.
I did, absolutely. I thought it was great.
It was a good game. I just wanted to put something out there, okay?
Yeah.
My call was Bengals plus 4.5 and under 48.5. So I'm just saying 2-0. Just saying. Okay. I don't want to say I'm the man.
Yeah,
but I think I'm the man. I think I'm the man. So let me ask you this. Did the game live up to your expectations?
I thought it definitely did. I was watching it and I all along thought the Rams were going to win.
Yeah.
From the days leading up to it, and my students at my school talking it up and they're like, oh, we're on the Rams bandwagon. I'm like, well, then I'm definitely going for Bengals.
Of course, right?
Yeah. And so, it is what it is, but I definitely was pulling for the Bengals and, they showed up, the Rams showed up, the defenses played very well.
Yep.
And I thought that the flow of the game was good. I mean, my only gripe is the end of it. At the very end, why in the world would you run on 3rd and 1 right where Aaron Donald, literally all he had to do, and he did it, was stick his arm out and grab the guy. And he's so strong. I mean, you see the pictures from the Super Bowl party, 300 plus, and just
guy's huge.
So jacked without his shirt. I was like, oh my gosh, what is that guy? He is truly a Hulk.
And the funny thing is he's only 6'1". It's not like he's this big. I mean, he's just unmovable,
He is the mountain. Like, he is unreal, and so on 3rd and 1, when you do that, that was like my biggest thing. Like, I was like, why? And then of course you knew he was going to make the play
of course
at the end of the game. Like when it's on the line where he can get his Super Bowl, nobody's stopping the guy.
No, God, no.
2 guys weren't going to stop that guy. Whoever was on him the whole game, I don't remember names of the Bengals because I don't follow them.
Yeah.
And we suck.
It doesn't even matter,
It doesn't matter.
No, it's true. It's true. I mean, he just won it. And the cool thing about the game was it was just such a back and forth game. It was 13-10. And then Cincinnati comes right out and scores that quick touchdown right away. We won't even talk about the fact that it took a little face mask that nobody even noticed except for 100 million people watching it.
Yeah.
But so the back and forth, and then they missed some penalties, and then at the end of the game, I mean, everything was a penalty. It was like come on, man, make these guys play. And then you had the halftime show. The halftime show, I thought, was okay. People were saying all kinds of things about it. I mean, I liked it in the fact that it was bringing back some of those 90s rappers, Dr. Dre and Snoop and Eminem. So, I thought that was pretty exciting. But the one thing that bothered me was, you can see what inflation has done to 50 Cent. Because when he was out there, I mean, he looked like $1, didn't he? I mean, that was no 50 Cent anymore.
I'm not commenting on 50 Cent.
I mean, he was. I saw him come out, and I'm like,
that was a surprise.
I'm like, no, that can't be. And I'm looking at him more, and I'm like, that's not 50 Cent. That's $1. I mean, there's no doubt about it.
He's acting now. I think I saw something that he has like 3 of the best performing shows on Stars right now, or something like that.
Really?
Yeah, that he's got a lot of stuff going for. Don't quote me for sure. I think I saw that, or my wife told me something about that because we were talking about that. I liked the show for the most part. They cut short the songs I enjoyed the most. And it was just really cool. Like they did the California Love. Obviously, Tupac wasn't in it because rest in peace.
Not around.
Not around anymore. But I'm glad nobody did his part, I think that would have been awful. But I thought it was great in its own right. But yeah, my favorite song was cut short. And then I love Eminem. And him only getting to do one, and then he was just standing around. Like Mary J. Blige is great. No, I mean, she has an amazing voice.
Yeah, she does.
But I really kind of wished that she had been blended more into all the songs or something, or sang more hooks with them or something. And instead of just, because it's like they segmented it very nicely, and they had the whole setup for it that was like boom, boom, boom. And everything. And that I guess gave it the flow for them. But it wasn't my favorite. What's your all-time favorite halftime show?
I'll tell you, I think there's a lot of good halftime shows, and overall, I think that they do a nice job. It doesn't really matter to me as long as everybody that's on the stage and out there isn't covered in like bandages and bloodied up and everything. As long as that, I'm good to go.
When did that happen?
That was last year. You missed that one. It was
that's
the
right,
weekend, right? The weekend. So
that's
stupid.
Right.
So we won't even get into it. It's so ridiculous. But we can talk about that all day. Let's move on to question number 2.
I gotta give you my favorite though, because
tell me
your favorite. So I gotta
tell me. What is it?
The Prince one, man. Prince when he performed, and then Michael Jackson's performance. Both of those were like wonderful. And I think that they faked like the outside with Janet Jackson or something.
Yeah.
I think she was on the stage at one point. That was a long time ago, but it was. Those two really stand out to me as my absolute favorite halftime shows. That were like the other ones just were, and then you can tell how much I enjoyed the weekends.
I couldn't even remember it, so it makes sense.
Totally forgot he was even there.
I think all of us kind of totally forgot about that one. So question number 2: Cooper Kupp wins the MVP. All right, and I'm not going to say that he didn't have a good game. I mean, 8 receptions, 92 yards, 2 touchdowns. But did he really deserve it over Aaron Donald? I mean, Donald had 2 sacks. He had the couple big tackles. The game-ending tackle. I mean, I know they don't like to give defensive players, but
that's what I was going to say.
I mean, to me, especially with the second half dominating performance that the Rams had with that line. I mean, Burrow was on his back the entire second half. I mean, what do you think? I mean, do you think they made the right call giving Kupp the MVP?
I mean, I also think, it could have come into the fact of the season he had too, like his season was out of this world, like
crazy.
I can tell you now, I would never in a million years have thought that he would have had the season he did. And Stafford, coming in helped with that a whole lot. I mean, with Goff, he still did admirably well, but, with Stafford, who knew the connection was going to be so solid that, they're going to just set every record on fire. It seemed like, at least to me.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you could, have they ever done a co-MVP like 2?
They have one time. It was I think it was it 79? I think it was. It was. I want to say it was Randy White and Harvey Martin. I want to say for Dallas. I think it was Super Bowl 14, maybe. Yeah. I can't remember. No, it was before. It was before that. I can't remember, but there was one co-MVP, and this probably would have been another time for another co-MVP. I mean, listen, I know that.
Yeah, I mean, they both dominated.
They did. I mean, it was a great performance by both of them, and I don't think you can go wrong either way. It almost, when you think about that, I mean, it goes right into question number 3, and that is, did Cooper Kupp just have the greatest season of all time for wide receiver? 145 receptions, 1,947 yards, 16 touchdowns. So he actually won the receiving triple crown. All right. He was all time number 1 for most receptions in a season, number 2 for most yards in a season, number 2 for most touchdowns in the season. Wow. He won Offensive Player of the Year and Super Bowl MVP. The first guy to do that, to win those 2 awards since Joe Montana. Okay. Actually, he's only the second guy ever to do that. So, I mean,
not even Jerry Rice has done that.
No. I mean, Rice had some phenomenal seasons, but
to me, he's the receiver. When I think of receivers in the NFL for my lifetime, like he's the guy I always think of, that was just so unstoppable.
Yeah. And I don't even know why. He wasn't the fastest guy. He wasn't the biggest guy. He just, I don't know what it was. I still don't even know what it is about him. I mean, it's incredible.
It is. It absolutely is. Because I remember also playing Madden and wondering why it was so slow in Madden.
he was so slow. He wasn't the fastest guy around,
It was slow. And I was like, I don't want to play them. I'm trading him for Calvin Johnson.
Yeah, there you go.
He probably wasn't even in, Madden's and all that.
Not way back then. No, God.
Not way back then, but still, at the same time, like when Madden first got off the grounds and everything.
Yeah.
They had the all-pro whatevers. And so I would just swap out somebody else in his place.
Yeah, well, it makes sense in that case. Yeah, I remember those games. Yeah. He was definitely not the best, but Montana was.
Yeah. Yep.
So question number four. I want your honest opinion. All right. Okay. So the safety for the Rams, Taylor Rapp, who I never heard of, proposed to his girlfriend after the game.
Okay.
And Van Jefferson, the receiver for the Rams, his wife actually left the game in the middle of the game to go to the hospital to have a baby. All right.
Yeah.
So here's you. Okay. You're playing in the Super Bowl. 1, do you propose to your girlfriend after the Super Bowl? And 2, if your wife is 40 weeks pregnant, do you play in the Super Bowl and miss the birth of your child?
Man,
those are tough questions, right?
I mean, I can honestly say I'm not proposing. I think the emotions are a little bit wonky in that sense that,
it's a little cheesy,
we won, let's get married. And then it's like,
I know, right?
wait a second. I'm now a Super Bowl player. I've won. I'm a champion. I don't know. I just don't think I would.
That's how I see it too. Yeah. It's
yeah. But then, the birth of a son or a daughter, being that I have 2 kids now, was it his first? Do we know if it was his first?
It was his second. His second.
So no offense to the second borns in the family, but I could understand how he would say, I've experienced this once. Maybe he's like, but this is what I thought about this too. Cause I was looking at your questions you would think about asking and everything.
Yeah.
I thought that I would go to the Super Bowl if I had never been to the Super Bowl. I would go I'd play. And then, if I catch a pass, peace, and then go. But I don't need to score a touchdown. Just I can say I participated. I caught a 20-yard completion, and then I celebrated with the birth of my son or daughter. I think that is what I would have done.
Yeah.
Versus playing the whole entire game. And I don't think. I don't know. Like then the fact that she was at the game. Like I love the support. That's awesome. Yeah. There to support him. But that's tough, man, having to get gurneyed out, to getting out of the stadium. And I know how bad that is when it's full and it's like Super Bowl, can't even imagine getting out of there, even with them trying to create space for her.
Yeah.
And she's probably, up in a suite. So then they'd have to get her down from the suite.
Yeah.
Probably elevator. And then that's, calling the ambulance and getting through the traffic. The parking lots are probably a mess getting in there. It's like,
could have been.
Yeah, there's just too many variables. I love the support. Please stay home. In fact, just drive yourself there, or I'll even drop you. I'll even drop you off before I even go to the game, maybe. And then if the baby's on the way, then I don't play in the Super Bowl.
Right. And
that would be so hard to do.
It's tough. And you know what? I mean, listen. She was 40 weeks. They knew she was going to go anytime, and she was probably excited, cheering, and probably jumping up and down. And boom, next thing you know, of course the baby's going to come out. But, supposedly what I heard is that she made it a point not to let him know during the game that she had gone into labor.
Right.
So I don't know if he missed the birth or not. I think that he did. I know he was there after the baby was born because there's pictures of him holding the baby, but it's one of those situations that fortunately you and I would never have to worry about. So
no,
just leave it at that. Right?
Anytime soon. My wife has been to the Super Bowl. I have never been to a Super Bowl.
You never been? Okay. All right.
My wife's on another level of coolness than I am.
Well, you know what? It's something to aspire. One of these days, maybe you can be as cool as your wife. My wife tries to be as cool as me, and she hasn't gotten there yet. So we're hoping. Yeah. We've only been married for 22 years, so maybe in another 22. It's pretty exciting. It's pretty exciting.
That's pretty amazing. 22 years. That's pretty admirable, man. That's cool.
Yeah. Well,
I got 14.
See, you're catching me.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna totally catch up to you.
Quick, honey. Let's move to 23 next year. Let's just jump ahead, right?
Yeah, and you guys are gonna stay married too, so it's like we're never gonna catch you.
Oh God. Yeah. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
So question number five. the officiating in this game, I know we briefly talked about it. We talked about that T. Higgins 75-yard touchdown pass.
That was big.
How the hell? I mean, this is the Super Bowl, for God's sakes. How do you miss an obvious face mask call like that? I don't understand it.
I think I read somewhere that they were like, let it go. I don't remember the reason it was. There was something that they said that like it was for some reason that they felt that there was no reason to call it or throw a flag. I mean, I could be completely wrong and everything with that, but I thought I saw that somewhere, and just maybe I didn't finish the article.
I mean, it makes
but like it made no sense to me.
Yeah, it really doesn't, right? Really doesn't.
I mean, that was massive.
Yeah.
I mean, Ramsey was getting torched the whole game, but still like that was definitely when you saw the replay and you saw what happened with it. I mean, there were other instances like with Burrow. I think he got hit with some, and then there was no calls. And I think before the Super Bowl even happened, oh man, was it Super Bowl? I might be thinking of the round before, where it was the crews were like, certain crews were very high at throwing flags, and then the other crew was like really low at throwing flags, and then I think one of those crews was brought in for the Super Bowl or something like that. But I don't remember exactly.
Well, I mean, it makes sense. It makes that's the thing that bothered me. I thought overall it was a good game, but I didn't like that call. I mean, that really changed the game. I think, I mean, if you saw that second half, I mean, that really kicked the Rams offense down. I mean, they just couldn't do anything. But when you look conversely, I mean, look what it did to their defense. I mean, they stepped it up big time. So the second half of the game was kind of boring, but even the hold, there was a guy named Logan Wilson that was covering Kupp at the end of the game, and they called that. And even though the Rams were, I think it was a false start or offsides on that play. I mean, there was just the end of the game, man. You got to let these guys play a little bit. I mean, it was like every time. I mean, I fully expected, after they scored, I also fully expected that the Bengals were going to come back and kick a field goal, and this thing was going to overtime. I really thought that was the case. But of course, I forgot that, I forgot our man Aaron Donald was out on there and said, no, I'm not going to let that happen. We're not going overtime. That's that.
He's like Superman. Superman came down and just ended it. He was like, I'm done with this game. Let's be done.
Exactly.
Get off this and we just celebrate.
That's right. Give me the trophy. Let's go. Let's go. So it's cool. I want to just mention a few facts. This is the first time in a Super Bowl since 2008 that the game was decided by 3 points or less, which is odd to me, right? I mean, I would have thought that there'd be more games that are closer, but it hasn't been done in, I guess that's 14 years now. Sean McVay, the youngest coach to win, he's 36 years old.
Makes sense.
7 sacks, an all-time record. All right. Poor Joe Burrow, man. In the Super Bowl, 7 sacks
for the whole
team
team.
In the Super Bowl. Yeah.
Huh, interesting.
Very.
I felt like they had more than that.
Well, they had 5 in the third quarter alone.
It's true.
I mean, it was Burrow is still in bed. Burrow was sacked 19 times in the postseason, which is ridiculous. But he led the league in times on his ass during the season, so it didn't make a difference.
That's too much.
And the Bengals are one of 3 teams that have been in multiple Super Bowls and haven't won. They've been in 3, and they've lost all 3 by a total of 12 points.
Jeez.
So they play.
That's sad.
It's crazy. And then one other keynote that I wanted to mention was Jalen Ramsey, and you had mentioned that he had gotten torched.
He was getting torched.
Did you know he allowed 160 yards receiving, most ever in a game in his career?
Wow. I mean, I believe it in the game, and Jamar Chase is unreal, but he was one of other people too at some point too. Didn't he get burned for another big play by some other people other than that T. Higgins and then Jamar Chase?
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, Higgins and Chase and Mixon. I mean, they got a good core. So
they do. And you're missing Boyd too.
Yeah, that's true. So
their offense is legit.
No, it is. So here's the question. Can the Rams keep their team together next year? You know how it is. I mean, you've got Odell Beckham Jr. that had this awakening, so to speak. So he's going to be sought after, and Aaron Donald is kind of talking about retiring, and then after you win, guys leave, and it's just tough to repeat in general.
It is.
So what do you think? This team overachieved. I thought they were supposed to be really good, but they were not supposed to be Super Bowl champions. Let's be honest.
I mean, they spent the money on it like they were.
They sure did.
I mean, they brought in Von Miller. He's a free agent, I think, next year too.
Yeah, another guy.
So I think he's mentioned before that he wanted to test free agency or something like that.
Can't blame him there.
No, and I mean, if you can bring back enough people to get him to want to stay, I guess that's big and convincing him and all that. I don't think Odell will be back. I personally think that one thing that they may be able to do is get Allen Robinson to slide into that spot as the receiver, because Chicago did him wrong, did him so wrong. I mean, I saw a tweet from him talking about his targets, and he signed the $18 million franchise tag.
Yep.
This season, and then they schemed him completely out of their scheme. Like he went from 9 to 10 targets to like 5 to 6, and even less than that. In some games, nothing, goose eggs, and he only missed a few games. And that makes me so mad, and it makes me so happy that Nagy's gone. And I'm sorry, I'm talking about the Bears.
Yeah, no, it's all right. It's all right. It's all right. It's all right. I know you're.
I really think that I lost my connection there. Hold on one second. Can you hear me?
Yeah, no, you're still good. You're still good.
Okay, sorry. The plug dropped out of the microphone plug dropped. I'm sorry.
Dude, it's your first time, man. It's all right. We make mistakes.
So I mean, it is the first time I've done this stuff. I'm hoping I'm doing all right.
Yeah.
But I think that Odell's gone.
Yeah.
And I think he may be done. I mean, isn't it the same knee that he messed up before?
It's only fitting that he plays half the game and goes out injured.
Sucks.
I mean, he's always injured. He's so talented, but
he is.
I mean, I don't know. To me, it seems like he's damaged goods.
Mm-hmm.
As great of a receiver as he is, you're taking a big chance. And do you really want to give this guy, $10 million to hopefully play half a season? Maybe. I mean, when he's on the field, he's great, but he's got to stay on the field. That's really the key. So. We'll see if the Rams are able to keep it together. We know how tough it is to repeat. But now what does Cincinnati need to do in the offseason? I mean, the thing that comes to my mind is you need an offensive line.
That's exactly what I was going to say, like we've been talking about. That's the biggest thing.
I mean, you got to protect your quarterback. I mean,
absolutely.
And I'll tell you, Joe Burrow, I mean, listen, he was incredible in college, right? And I think we all thought that he was just going to come in the league and be incredible. And he got injured. So, the jury was out. You're like, this guy, I don't think much of him. And then he comes in and you're like, you know what? Yeah, this guy is pretty good. He's going to, I think another year, he might be a top 5 quarterback in the NFL.
Oh, for sure. There was another thing that I saw that, oh my gosh, I can't remember the guy who put it up there. It was a message I think it was from First Take from on Stephen A's show.
Yeah.
They took Mahomes out of the top 5 and put Burrow in there instead.
Wow.
I'm pretty sure that that's the truth. Like 98% sure I saw that. And so
Mahomes is really good too, though.
I don't know who it was who dropped him, but they moved Burrow up to 5. And
wow.
I mean, he's a heck of a quarterback. Mahomes is a heck of a quarterback. And, I don't know how that to me is a little bit premature.
You think about what's he played one full season? I'd say that's a little bit early, early.
For sure.
But I like
he had a heck of a season.
Oh, he had a great season, and I like what Cincinnati has done, setting themselves up for the future. And the fact of the matter is, they were the worst team in football 2 years ago,
which is crazy to me.
Isn't that unbelievable?
Hire that guy.
Listen. I'm a Jets fan, and we've been the worst team in football for the last 50 years. So what? I mean, so
you need to go get this guy.
It's crazy. It's just unbelievable. It's just
I can't believe how that they flipped it that fast. Like I don't think anyone could honestly say that they thought that the Bengals would be in the position they are now.
No.
In 2 years, it's wild.
What? It's one of those situations where their draft picks actually worked out.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
I mean, Higgins and Chase. I mean, listen, did anybody know Chase was going to be that good his rookie season? I mean, my God. And then,
look at the preseason, he dropped everything.
Yeah.
Preseason, he dropped everything.
Do you remember the quote about that?
No, I don't.
They asked him, they're like, you caught everything in college. Why aren't you catching it now? And he goes, well, the football looks different, so I can't catch it. I'm like, the football looks different. Okay, maybe it's me, but isn't a football a football?
Like, they're various sizes. I don't know.
Like, were you playing with like a neon purple one that had sparkles on it? I mean, no. I mean, I realized that you were playing in LSU and people like to party down there and everything, but no, it was a brown football, and you're still catching a brown football. So, it's kind of funny though, because we all remember that in the preseason the guy couldn't catch a ball.
No, not at all.
And then the season started, and the guy couldn't drop a ball. I mean, he's catching everything. Yep. I mean, it's everything. Just phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. So
setting his own records, like
oh god, he crushed it. Crushed it
this year.
Yeah. So
never would have thought that.
So the Bengals are built to win, and I think they're going to be even better. I think they're moving in the right direction, and the Rams, we'll see if they can maintain. I mean, we saw how difficult it was for the Buccaneers. I mean, they basically brought back their entire team, and they couldn't get it done. So it's tough, but we'll see.
It's the injuries, like the Bucs. I still would think that they're the better team if they're fully healthy, but Brady lost his whole offense.
It's tough.
It's so hard, and everybody gets older, and you can't like.
You're right.
I don't know. We know.
That's the problem with football. It's such a physical game, and there's so many injuries. You just can't predict it. You just don't know what's going to happen. And, you have a couple big injuries and your season's over.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's just the way it is. It's horrible. It's horrible, yep. But anyway, Super Bowl was great. And I look forward to the off season, because football is definitely a 12-month a year game. Yeah. There's always something going on, trades or this or that. And so it's exciting, but I want to get into a topic that Phil and I really never talk about. Okay. And that's why I'm kind of happy that you're here, because we're not really NBA guys anymore. I mean, I for the longest time, I was a huge NBA fan, but the game has changed so much. And to me, it's not as enjoyable, I mean, not to say
that's true. It's true.
I mean, guys complaining that people are yelling, fans are yelling, or a mascot's in the way, or your coach is going into the stands to yell at somebody. I mean, it's like, or the flops. I mean, LeBron, you don't even, like, you blow at him and he flies back 20 feet. I mean, come on, it's like enough is enough. So, yeah. So I'm excited to talk a little NBA, because I haven't.
All right.
The crazy thing about this, and I know you're walking around, your chest is out, your chin is up high, you're excited. Dude, I didn't know the Bulls were in first place. What the hell? Where did that come from?
It's willingness to work together. Like, and DeMar, dude, he needs to be the MVP. Like, he is the real MVP. I think they said he was 7th in voting right now for MVP. Yeah. So in my mind, not just being a Bulls fan, but that dude deserves that MVP, because we've lost. I mean, this is hard to say. Lonzo Ball, who everybody thought was a wash with the Pelicans.
I still think he's a wash.
With the Lakers. No.
He's a ball, for God's sakes.
Well, the rest of them are, no, not the rest of them. The youngest is probably the better of the three.
We refer to him as littlest ball. We've got big ball, littlest ball, little ball, and daddy ball. Those are the Ball family. Listen, littlest is a good player, and I hate it. I hate that so much, because
he's really good.
He's friggin' ugly. He's annoying. That like 100-point game he had. I'm watching highlights of it. Dude, the guy didn't even step over half court. He was just on the offensive line. I mean, I'm like, come on, enough is enough. Yeah. So,
but no, in terms of his transition to the NBA, though, that dude he's really good. I mean, he's changed how people are guarding him, like how they have to watch his vision with his passes. They have to be completely playing for him. And I'm happy that Jordan got a good pick, or a good trade. It was a pick. Finally. It was a pick. Yeah. I mean, he messed up a lot of things, and he's got great shoes, and he's got all his stats. But as a manager, he's as the owner. He's not so great at picking people.
No, you mentioned you mentioned, I know, right? You mentioned DeRozan, right? And I don't know if people know this, but he set a record, an all-time record. This has never been done before. 8 straight games of 35 points and shooting over 50% a game.
Yeah.
Now, whose record did he break?
Not Mike's.
The great Wilt Chamberlain, who
Absolutely.
did it twice in his career. He did it 7 times.
So, he's also playing closer to the basket, I feel, as a center.
Yeah, but you know what? The funny thing is, his shooting percentage wasn't that high. I mean, he was bigger and taller than everybody else.
Yeah,
but
definitely. Too.
For one, I mean, could you imagine how many points Wilt would have averaged if he actually shot more than 50% from the foul line?
Well, you know, right? You could say the same thing for Shaq too.
That's also true. But interesting. So the Bulls are 38-21, and then they're followed by the Heat, the Bucks, and the Cavs. I'm like, the Heat and the Cavs? I thought those teams were terrible.
No, the Heat are pretty good. You know, they were decent in the bubble, and then I think they've have a good solid core, and then they added I can't think of his name off the top of my head, the dude from up in Toronto, the point guard. I can't think of his name. But I mean,
not Lowry, is it?
Yeah, Lowry's on their team.
Okay.
Yeah, and so he's helped a lot, and they're just, you know, they got a bunch of guys who buy in, you know, and the Bulls are the same way. They're tough. Our defense, Alex Caruso, you know, like I cannot stand Grayson Allen. I'm not scared of putting that out. I'm not afraid of saying anything about Grayson Allen. Yeah, that dude, he needs to be like. I wish if I was on the Bulls, I would have gotten suspended for a few weeks because I would have walked right up to that MFer and punched him right in the face. That's because, I mean, we grew up with the Bulls of the 90s and in the basketball of the 90s where it was physical. His play would be there, and, you know, people get pulled down. Lambeer's jumping on people, cross body like he's wrestling. Right. And I'm like, Grayson Allen is like keeping that up. I was like, okay, you want to play this way? I'm gonna be like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar when, you know, somebody gets hurt. There was always a clip I remember him that I think is amazing, where he got some dude like elbowed him. He lost his breath. He got his composure. He turned around, walked up, and punched him right in the face, and decked him. And I'm like, yes, okay, Kareem, tough. And you know, that's what somebody needs to do to Grayson Allen. I'm sorry. Like that dude is, he ruined our team in a sense that now we are relying on DeMar, and, you know, we've lost Lonzo Ball. Who the one thing I think the Bulls need to do is they need to, they just signed Tristan off the cut list or whatever for the NBA. So we brought in a big, which is great. We needed another big, but I've been saying this for years. All my buddies, that I work with, actually work with an avid Bulls fan like myself, who he has the game NBA channel and watches all the Bulls games. He like doesn't miss them, so he's an even bigger fan than myself. And I've always said that, you know, our team is set up this way. Wouldn't it be great if we had a point guard who would pass the ball more and direct the offense versus the scoring guards that we have so many of? Yeah. Like I even thought like trade Kobe White for like a Ball or trying to think of another one that's like pass first. Rondo, and he's older, but, you know, somebody that's tough that will run the offense and get the guys their shots that will set everybody up for the offense and stuff. So I've been saying that the Bulls would really do well by bringing in another point guard that is looking to pass more if they could find one, and then the trade deadline pass and they set pat. And, you know, if everybody can get healthy, we're pretty good.
Listen,
that's all. And I haven't said that in a long time.
It
makes me so happy.
You know, it's surprising, but again, I'm looking at the West Conference versus the East Conference, and I'm thinking the West is still better. You know, and I'm looking at the Suns, man. I know they have a good team, but 48-10. I mean, what are they? The Bulls from the 90s? I mean,
we haven't seen that since then. Like, I mean, the Warriors team, you know, a while back where they were like, was it 73-9? Wasn't that? Didn't they break the regular season record?
No, they were like 70.
They did.
I think they were like 70-12.
Okay.
Something like that.
It was close.
It was close. Yeah. Bulls still have that record. Yeah.
But it was like, then they had that whole talk about which one was better, yada, yada, yada. But like, we had those two teams plus the Lakers team that the Bulls broke for that one. And then this team now with them almost unstoppable.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, once they get to the playoffs, that's when, real basketball plays. And, I feel like a lot of teams coast during the regular season. So nowadays they don't really play hard. And
Yep.
I think their numbers are inflated. And I think once they get to the playoffs, it'll be different. Like it was, the Bucks beat them because the Bucks are tougher. And I love Giannis. Giannis is my favorite player.
Oh, he's a beast. He's a beast. But you'd mentioned some trades. So there were a lot of trades. I know in the trade deadline, there's usually a lot, but for some reason, this one just seemed like there were some bigger players on the move. So I picked out 5, and I just want you to evaluate the trades for me because
hot takes.
Because I don't really know these guys. I know some of these guys, but like for one, the Mavs, Porzingis. All right, I remember when he was on the Knicks, and he was just like, everybody was all excited. He's like the second coming. He does this, he does that. So the Mavs traded him and a second round pick to the Wizards for Spencer Dinwiddie and who is this? David Bertans. I don't even know who those two guys are. Are those guys any good?
Bertans, I think it's Bertans. I think it's how you say his name.
Whatever.
I'm not sure, but I think he's a power forward, possibly a center who can shoot the ball just like Porzingis supposedly could. I think at a better clip. And then you have Dinwiddie, who I think is a point guard / 2 guard, and he can score and he can play. Not awful. I think that's a move in the right way for the Mavericks. I think they did good by moving on from him because he's injury prone.
He is, right?
Yeah, and I don't think he gels well with
Doncic.
Thank you.
Yeah.
With Luka. And so I think it was a good move.
Yeah.
It was a good move.
All right. Well, we'll see.
Yeah, for sure.
And the biggest trade, I'm just going to go right into it. James Harden and Millsap to the Sixers for Ben Simmons, Seth, don't call me Steph Curry, Andre Drummond, and 2 first-round picks in 22 and 27. 27. Wow.
That's a ways off.
The thing was this Nets team was supposed to just be ridiculous, right?
Yeah, but it never happened.
Well, but here's the thing, and this is what I wanted to kind of talk to you about. Isn't it really tough when you build a team around 3 superstars that all have to score? I mean,
right?
Isn't that the problem? I mean, you know, that's the problem with having these super teams where you have guys that all want to put the ball in the hole.
Right. They want their stats and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I will say this about James Harden. As much as I don't really like his style of play because he doesn't play any defense, and he's willing to fake an injury to get out of town. I mean, that's crap. That is crap. And when he's dialed in, he'll pass a lot more. Like his numbers will go up where he'll pass the ball and he won't try to score 70 points on 200 shots. The dude, gosh, Harden is a frustrating player. I think that, as offensively gifted as the guy is, he'd be a much better player if he had 1, condition, because he's not in his best condition. No. And then 2, play some defense. He wants to be thought of as a great player. Doesn't do any of that, really. He's a great scorer. He's probably one of the best ever, which is crazy. But I will also say this about James Harden before I move on from that, is that how they adjusted the rules this season about how he would drive into people to go to the free throw line for 20 free throw points. That was an awesome move by the NBA to officiate, to change that ruling. And it took him forever to really get used to it. And he started getting tons of fouls and he wasn't scoring at half as much as the season was going. He was still efficient. I mean, he's still a great scorer, but they changed that, for a reason, because people were just jumping into everybody. I mean, Devin Booker, he was doing the same thing and it was driving me insanely mad during the finals last year. Yeah, and I'm he is causing the foul. It is not the defensive player. What can they do if he's just allowed to do that, So I'm glad they changed that rule. It needed to happen. Devin Booker, heck of a scorer too. Great player.
Oh, phenomenal.
Great player. So,
So
I think it's tough with those three, like you said, but
it's tough. But you know what? I look at it this way, and this is kind of interesting. Granted, I don't know what Ben Simmons has been doing. I mean, he's such a friggin' baby. Oh, I don't want to play. I'm not happy. He's not a tremendous scorer. He's more of a pass first kind of guy.
Yeah.
I don't know how he and Kyrie are going to play. I mean, I get Kyrie's not really a point guard, even though he's like super fast and he's got incredible skills.
He's only playing half the time.
That's right.
Playing full time. And in the playoffs, this will be the same thing too.
And we're going to get to that because I got something I want to say there. So at the end, at the end of the day, is it better for the net? Do the Nets make out better by adding Simmons, or do the Sixers make out better for adding Harden? What do you think?
I mean, I think Harden and Embiid will do well together. I think Millsap is a little old. I think Drummond is washed. I think his better days are behind him.
Yeah, no doubt.
But getting picks and a shooter like I almost said Steph, but he's a good shooter. He can put the ball in the hole. So I think that'll help him.
Yeah,
he's not his brother, but he's close. Or not his brother. It's not his brother. It's his cousin, right?
No, it's his brother.
Is his brother? Okay, because I thought I saw something else that was different.
Yeah, no, I think Seth is closer to their father than he is to his brother. His brother's a little bit better than like everybody. All right, a couple more that I just wanted to run by really quickly. Toronto traded Goran. I don't even know how you pronounce his name.
Dragic.
Okay, Dragic.
I think. Yeah.
They traded him and 2 picks to the Spurs for the great Thaddeus Young and Drew Eubanks and a second. Is this guy Dragic? Is he good? Isn't he like a shooting guard?
He played pretty good when he was with the Heat, and then he had somewhere else that he went, I think, before then. But he's also been in the league for a little while, and I think I read somewhere that they were considering buying him out, and he was going to go to a different team with that trade. Like the whole thing was Thaddeus Young going to the other team and helping them out because he used to play for the Bulls, and he was really good, but he was a cap casualty, I believe. And they decided to either trade him or they let him walk in free agency. I don't remember. Because I do like the NBA, but I don't follow it as religiously as I used to.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things where there's so many games and time with other things and families.
I just threw that on there because I'm like, is this really important? I mean, is this really going to make a difference to these teams? And the way I kind of saw it was no. But the next one I think is, and that is, and I was actually really surprised that Portland let CJ McCollum go. That guy's a player. It's the Pelicans traded Josh Hart, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Tomas Satoransky, and Didi Louzada. I mean, perennial Hall of Famers right there. To Portland for CJ McCollum, Tony Snell, and Larry Nance Jr., whose father was actually a heck of a basketball player playing for the.
Junior can dunk though too, and he's got some good defense.
I think the Pelicans. Did Portland did they get enough out of this trade?
I don't think so.
I mean, it seems like they were just dumping and picking up guys that.
I think they're in the tank mode. Like I think they're tanking. I think they're 100% tanking. Because there was another trade that the Pelicans got, and they got better to put some good people around Zion when he stops,
eating,
and I don't know what he's doing. Like
I think he plays Xbox on the couch eating. And,
good grief! I mean, all I can think about is Greg Oden. Because he hurt himself. I mean, he hurt himself and was out, and Zion can't stay healthy right now either.
Different. It's it's different. But Zion, I mean, you're talking about a guy that's 6'6", 6'7", and weighs 300 pounds. I mean, to me, and listen, when he came out of college, I thought that he was fantastic, and I can't blame them for taking him number one. But let's be honest, man. The first thing you're doing is putting his fat ass on a diet. I'm sorry. He does not need to be playing at 285, 290 at 6'6". He's never going to last. And you can see he's hurt. He thinks he's coming back, and no, turns out the injury is still there. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen to this guy. He hasn't
played this season, I don't think, has he?
No. No, I mean, he's got
What a shame.
if he would get down to more of Barkley's size, because Barkley Barkley was even shorter, and Barkley weighed 250, 260. I mean, even if he lost 30 pounds, I think it would make a world of difference for this guy.
Oh, for sure. For sure. You're still strong. I mean, he's still going to be tough,
Yeah.
I definitely agree with that for sure.
I mean, his jumping ability for a guy that's that heavy, I mean, it's unbelievable. I mean, 30 pounds less, he's gonna hit his chin on the rim. I mean, it's unbelievable what he could probably do.
Right. I don't know. I think that the Pelicans did well by surrounding him with better weapons to have a possibly better team. Are they going to dominate the West? No.
Not quite.
There's no. But I mean, going back to the Trailblazers, like Dame time might be, on the way out the door, whether they trade him or he walks or whatever. But I mean, I don't see how he's been so loyal to them, and then they do all these trades, like, cause he's hurt right now. And I'm like, whether he says that's like, okay, that's gotta like sting just a little bit, because he's played with McCollum for so many seasons. I just, instead of making it better, it's like, that doesn't prove the draft is going to work.
No,
it's not proven. It does sometimes, but it's not all the time.
The funny thing is, and the thing that I always notice about Portland is, it seems like, you've got this incredible backcourt. I mean, arguably the most talented backcourt in the league, but what are you doing? Like, you're not putting any talent around them. I mean,
True.
You can't just depend on these guys and then just put a bunch of stiffs out there. I mean, so instead, what do? Oh, our team is no good. Let's just get rid of this guy and start over.
Right.
Well, you didn't have to if you could have made some better moves and gotten some big men that could actually play alongside these guys. But hey, what do I know? I'm no GM. I'm just a guy that's looking, thinking, that seems to make sense. But anyway, last trade that I wanted to talk about. And I think this one is actually an interesting trade. There's some good pieces involved. You got the youngest Sabonis, who his father's a Hall of Famer, man. He's a really good player. He's much better than I thought he was going to be. Jeremy Lamb, Justin Holloway, and a second-round pick. This is going to be exciting in 2027. Really excited about that.
Another 4 years or 5 years from now.
I know, right? So they traded those guys to the Kings for my man. Is it Buddy Hield?
Yep.
Tyrese Halliburton and the ex Mr. Khloe Kardashian. So
that's Tristan Thompson, right?
Yeah.
So they cut him. Yeah,
he's already gone, right?
Yeah, he's on the Bulls now. Bulls claimed him.
Listen, he's good at two things. Okay, he's good at switching teams, so he's good at playing basketball, and he's good at fathering women that are not his wife. I mean, really good talents from this guy. Okay, really talented guy.
He's overpaid, but he does some things admirably well, and I'm happy that the Bulls got him. I wish they could have gotten maybe a more established power forward that would be an overall better, but in terms of help though in the middle, I think he'll do well for them. But like Sabonis, good player. Halliburton, great potential, good player. And Hield is a great guy coming off the bench, shoots the three very, very well.
Yep.
It's tough to say a winner for that one, in my opinion. I think both will help the teams. The Pacers may also dump even more, and get rid of even more players. So who knows what's going to happen with them? Because now it's like the buyout market now, because there's like the trade market and then the buyout market, and you can get lucky and pluck somebody off the buyout market for cheap sometimes.
Like I always found that to be just unbelievable. Like, could you imagine, like, you're a stiff, right? You sign a 5-year, $100 million contract as what? I mean, if you're making $20 million a year, so you're what, like the 11th, 12th man on the team, and you play 4 years, then you get traded. And then they say, you know what, we don't want you, so we're just going to pay you $20 million and cut you.
Yeah, see you later.
I mean, I don't know who came up with that rule, but dude, I mean, I love it. I mean, seriously, I want. There's guys on teams that I root for that I want that to happen too, that they won't do. But I thought that was pretty crazy. The last thing that I want to talk about with you, and I really want your honest opinion about this one, because I don't want to get political, but it unfortunately it's a little bit of a political issue, it seems like. And that's Kyrie Irving, right? So I guess the law says that since he is not vaccinated, he can't play in New York, right? That's what it is.
Supposedly.
Right, allegedly. But here's what bothers me. If you play for a different team and you're unvaccinated, you can play there. That's no problem. But he can't.
Right.
Does that make any sense whatsoever? I'm trying to figure out, like not from any other viewpoint besides the fact that he's vaccinated on this team. This other guy is not vaccinated. This guy is not vaccinated on this team. He comes into town, he can play, but Kyrie can't play. Like, something know. Is it me, or does something just not make any sense with that?
I don't know. Like, I don't know the reasoning behind it. I mean, New York has their own whatever. I mean, I think California is the same way too, aren't they?
I don't know. I don't think like that.
Yeah.
But
it's just, as a teammate, that would drive me insane. Like, okay, you're supposed to be one of our leaders.
Yeah.
And yet again, you're playing half the games. And I'm like, I'd be so over that, of wondering, is he playing or is he not? Are we at full strength tonight? Or are we not? Who's starting in his place tonight? Who's not? As a teammate, Kyrie Irving would drive me bananas.
Yeah.
Because he hasn't played a full season in like the last 5 years.
No, he hasn't. But he's made some great commercials.
And movies.
And that's right.
Uncle Drew.
That's right. So at least he's doing something,
Yeah. And those are great.
On top of his $30 million salary. So it makes sense.
It's unreal though.
It makes sense.
Unreal.
So I want to just do a couple quick hits here with you. Wayne's World. Did you like that?
Oh, you're leaving the basketball thing.
I'm leaving the basketball, man. I'm going right into some quick hits.
I'm not letting you leave basketball just yet without.
Oh, come on! I'm done with basketball, man. All right, go ahead.
No.
What else you got? What else you got?
I was going to ask you about AI and T-Mac. There's a hype thing on Bleacher Report. They're at
what
tonight.
Is it?
It's a first time. I'm looking it up on my phone so I can actually quote it the right way. It's a versus highlight battle by AT&T, and it's going to in the Bleacher Report app at 11 p.m. tonight. So I don't know how is it going to go down, if they're going to have both of them live talking smack to one another. But I can tell you, I'm excited to watch it because I think both are very interesting players from their generations. And, I love both players to watch them. And so, to pick one as your better player, focused on the team, or has better highlights, who would you go with?
You know what? The crazy thing about that is, when I look at those guys, and I was really big into basketball when those guys came. For Iverson to do what he did at that size,
5'11" ish, 6 foot ish,
ridiculous. Weighed like 160 pounds. I mean, this is not a big guy. So phenomenal, unbelievable. I think he brought a level of athleticism to the game that had really never been seen before. I mean, just unbelievable. And then when you look at McGrady was that guy that came out of high school back when that was the thing to do.
Yep.
And, and he started off and you're like, all right, this guy is okay. I remember seeing him. I want to say it was in the, during the All-Star game where they have the rookies versus the second year guys.
Yeah.
And I think it was his rookie season. He really hadn't even done much, hadn't played much, but I think he was MVP of that game. And so all of a sudden I was like, okay, all right, maybe this guy's a player, and it turned out he was. So, so he had great size. He had a great game. And, he was that guy that always had like the same look on his face, didn't really get emotional. Whereas AI, man, God forbid he practices. I mean, it's practice. We're talking practice, man, practice.
Yeah.
So, listen, it's going to be a jam-packed, show of highlights. I mean, you could go on for days with highlights of those guys.
I mean, I was looking at some of them today, and it blew me away. I was like, I forgot that he did that, and those moves, the stepping over Derek Fisher and the dunks that T-Mac would put on, the passes that he did, and see and the highlight that Bleacher Report has like shown for this is obviously AI crossing Jordan is like starting the whole thing. So that's just I'm like, that was like one time.
I know,
but
right?
Whatever, Bleacher Report, it's okay. It's all right. I'm sure he shut him, let him only have 30. I'm sure he made his night tough, but like those things, like, and then T-Mac being 6'10", it shows another thing of like Kobe saying like, yeah, he does what I do, but he's 4 inches taller than me.
And
he's like how he moves on the court. Like some of the dunks that they had of T-Mac, and the dude, T-Mac was emotional. They're showing like some of his dunks and how it like and his reactions when he was with the Rockets. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. Like it comes on 11. I'm definitely gonna be tuning in because I want to see how they do this. Because I mean, I'm thinking of like other matchups you could do. Like I'm actually kind of surprised they went with T-Mac versus Iverson, because I think that what would have been even cooler to see would have been T-Mac versus Vince Carter.
Those guys are definitely more similar.
And they were also, on the same team when I think when Vince was playing with the Raptors, I think T-Mac was drafted by the Raptors. And then he later signed with the Magic, if I remember correctly, and then went to the Rockets. And I think that was the end of his career, those 3 teams.
Oh,
I can't remember.
Even know.
I think so. Know. And see, that tells you right there, because we all seem to like sleep on Tracy McGrady.
Yeah.
Like he's one of the best ever. I'm pretty sure he's in the Hall of Fame.
Wait, hold on a second. So what you're telling me is that by saying that you're sleeping on him, does that mean he's your double Luge partner? I'm confused. Is that what you're telling me here? I don't know.
No.
I appreciate the honesty. I thought I was onto something here. I thought you were laying down a hint that you were going to start the double Luge, but
no,
it's all right. It's all right.
No. But no, Tracy McGrady, like he was like an unsung guy. I feel like, like since he retired, and I feel like even now we're just like, oh, there's Tracy McGrady. He like comments on things every now and then. And then even AI, you don't even see him anywhere really at all. And
no, he disappeared.
It's crazy how they can do that, because
you got to remember, and something else. What they should do is they should just show all of Allen Iverson's quotes instead of his highlights, because his quotes are the best thing about him. And I remember during the lockout when he was saying, man, thank God I still have my endorsement money coming in. A lot of these guys would be in really bad shape. I'd be in bad shape if I didn't still have my endorsement money. And I'm thinking to myself, you make like $15 million a year and you don't have any money. I mean, really? I mean,
it's a lifestyle.
There's a problem with that, and I think he was late on his lease payments on his Rolls Royce and his Bentley and his McLaren. I'm like, dude, really? You don't need an entourage of 80 people. You're gonna go broke as soon as you're done playing. I mean, seriously, enough's enough. So
he did. That's cool. Think he did a job with his funds, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I don't think so either. But that's all right. All right. We're moving now. We're moving away from the NBA
to movies.
We're moving away. I got to cut. I'm all over. This is the part where I'm all over the place. All right. So Wayne's World turned 30. Do you consider that a classic movie?
I do, but it's not one of my favorites.
No. I mean,
in all honesty, it's not a bad movie. It's classic.
No, it's a classic movie, and I always laugh at it when I watch it, and I laugh at the same parts over and over. And I think the reason that people like it is because it was back when SNL was really popular and really funny back then. They got the incredible cast. So I want to ask you about that. Now I know that you've got a special place in your heart for Stranger Things.
I do.
And I'm kind of surprised.
My wife won an Emmy for it.
I realized, and I'm kind of surprised.
Got to throw her in that. Proud of my woman.
I know.
I'm a lucky man.
I was trying not to. I was trying to make you be the big celebrity here in your family.
I know.
And you ruined it.
I can't help it, man.
Oh, man, it is what it is. And you know what? I was at your house. You didn't even show it to me. I didn't even see it.
I thought about like that the next day. I was like, son of a gun, I didn't show it to him. Or even let you hold it.
I would have taken pictures with it. Whatever.
For sure.
But I guess they just announced season 4 start date in May, and season 5 is the final. But I read an article today saying that there might be possible spin-offs.
That's news to me. I don't know that. I haven't heard that.
You'll have to ask the expert about that. I just read that.
She would know.
Read that. I just read that yesterday. I thought that was pretty wild.
Yeah, she casts it, so she would definitely know. if they're planning anything, where they're going to be doing it. And
yeah.
But I can't, if I do find that out, I can't announce it.
No, of course. I mean,
I'm not allowed to do that. But I can't say yes, it's coming. No,
of course not.
But I'm getting her in trouble. And then
of course, listen, of course.
Yeah.
I just thought it was interesting that it said in the article that they're talking about possible spin-offs. I'm like, you have to have multiple spin-offs. I mean, listen, it's a great show. It's a great show.
It is. The phenomenon of Stranger Things was wild, and it changed TV viewing. Like,
oh, it was crazy.
It's one of the first, or the first show that got you to want to watch it as it was meant to, episode 1 through episode 8, or episode 1 through episode 10, however many bundles it was per season. It got people to watch all the way through. It wasn't like episodic, and like, which some shows have been going back to, like with Star Wars, all the stuff with them. They're doing everything episodic. Marvel is doing everything episodic, but it gave you everything at once. And so viewership it changed everything. And then those kids that were cast were amazing, and it was one of those shows that you thought of, like The Goonies. That was like one of those, that was just a wholesome movie that we loved as kids. Like The Goonies is still one of my favorite movies of all time.
It's a great movie.
I watched it with my boys, and they thought it was great too. It's a really, really good movie.
That's because it is a great movie.
It is.
It is a great movie. I want to finish up with two things. One, and I always love talking about this. Charles Barkley and I, we're tight.
Yeah, he's your boy.
We're like this. Here's Charles. Here's
your best friend forever.
We're BFFs. We're BFFs.
Absolutely.
From
across the room.
That's right. He
unbeknownst to Charles.
He doesn't know it yet, but we're
you call him
close.
Charlie. I know you call him Charlie.
Or Chuck sometimes. I mean, it depends. But he said something interesting that I thought was kind of funny. I'm going to say this quote, and you can tell me what you think of it. Yeah. I don't want to die on TV. I want to die on the golf course or somewhere fishing. I don't want to be sitting inside over by fat ass Shaq waiting to drop dead.
They hate each other. Oh my gosh, they hate each other so much.
It's like the best. I mean, listen, that was even one of the questions that I asked him. He had said that he was just going to play. He was just going to be there when his contract was over. He was just going to go fishing and play golf, and that was it. He was just done with it. But I thought that was funny that he called Shaq fat ass. I mean, Shaq's.
Well, they both are. Wrong. I mean, they both are.
You know what? Charles looked pretty good though when I met him.
Yeah.
He wasn't nearly as big as I thought he was going to be.
Right.
He looked good. And last but not least, and this must have been a kind of a.
I love both those guys. Those guys are like two of my favorites.
Oh, they're you gotta love guys that just.
They're both great.
Not afraid to say whatever's on their mind.
And like Shaq, like I was watching something about him. Like he was talking about how every time he goes to the store now, he like buys something for someone. How he's giving back every single time he goes out to purchase something. How he sees like someone who's like, I'm going to buy something for them just because I don't need all this for myself. Why don't I share it? And it's a testament to his character. And it's not just because my youngest was in a commercial with him, toting that one as well.
I'm sorry. What is his nickname for your son?
Energy. Called him Energy on set the whole time. Which is hilarious because the same thing as Cadence of his real name. So
funny. Really funny.
But Shaq is a great individual. And I just from catching that, just like him going through and talking about it, I was like, man, what a good guy. And then him and Barkley, how they hate each other so much. It just goes back to when they played against each other and fought each other.
Of course.
They have history. So it makes sense. And the TV show, they want drama. So they put them together, and it's just wonderful. It's great. It cracks me up every time I see it.
It's funny. And it was funny because I read an article on Shaq, and he was talking about, they were saying, something about how, he's worth so much money and his kids are going to have a great life and blah, blah. And he's like, no. He goes, I won't give my kids money. If they, that's right. And then he goes, if they need some money for something, they need to write up a business plan and present it to me. And if I like it, I'll invest in it. And I was like, that is wild. That's crazy.
I love it.
Crazy. Yeah,
because that's not what parents do these days.
No.
At the school that I work at, like I have so many kids that they just get everything that they want. And it's silver spoon. And it's just they don't understand what hard work does and the payout from the success of completing something on your own.
Exactly
and
right.
Building yourself of who you are with having it handed out to you. You cannot self-discover yourself by everything being given to you. You have to learn, you have to fail, you have to grow, and you can't be scared of that. And when these kids and when even adults finally learn these things, sometimes it's too late. But like when you learn how to fail and grow from that,
Yep.
It's just, the sky's the limit.
It's true. It's true. No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. I'm going to leave the podcast on this. All right. I'm going to say,
cut me off.
I'm going to say this.
I'm talking too much.
I've had enough of you. That's what it comes down to.
The rambling.
So here's what I got: Ghostbusters, Animal House, Dave, Kindergarten Cop, Twins, Stripes, Meatballs. Some classic, great movies in there.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, Ivan Reitman, man.
Oh yeah, he was the producer of all of them and director, wasn't he?
Oh God, he was incredible. Now, being that you're a celebrity, also, did you ever meet him?
No.
Or did you ever see him in person?
No.
No, you never did. Okay, you can't miss him because he's got those big teeth and that smile. Yeah. He's just,
I've met a few famous people.
Oh yeah, well, I know you have, but you never met him. That's unfortunate. But
I met Michael Rooker. He's a nice guy.
Oh, the guy from what the hell's he from?
He's been Cliffhanger. He was Stallone's former friend.
Oh, I know who he is.
That's where I knew him from. He had curly hair. He's lost all his hair now. He's a fantastic guy, but he was in Guardians of the Galaxy, and he's also in The Walking Dead. And He's a great character actor, and he brings a good person to the set, and he plays his characters very well. I can name some more, but it's not enough time.
No, we don't want you to name drop, my man. That's what happens when you're famous. Listen, I can just imagine now. I'm going to tell my grandchildren that, I did a podcast episode
with Brad Pitt. Zach Bennett
with the gold person in Guardians of the Galaxy. They're going to be like, oh my God, the gold person. And then I'm going to say, yeah. And he was that tall zombie. You saw the back of his head coming out of the barn.
Can I tell you a story?
Yeah. Tell me.
If you ever get the chance of being an extra in TV or movies, what you want to do is you always want to try to be the first person to get picked to go do that. And now when they're doing background, they kind of want to, they're strategic with who they put the here and everywhere. But if they say who's ready to go to set, or they ask questions of the group and everything, you always want to be like one of the first ones to go to it for a variety of reasons. One, so you get prime position. For Guardians of the Galaxy, I did not do that, and I was slow to getting where I wanted to be. So I ended up not even being seen, which stunk. Oh. I just walked in the background of like the shot that I was in, and I wasn't even seen. But it was cool because I talked to Chris Pratt about his workouts to become Star-Lord on set when I wasn't.
Oh, that's cool.
To.
Interesting.
So I talked to him about that, and that was cool. And it was a great experience. But the best experience I ever had in terms of being an extra and doing background stuff was on the set of Sleepy Hollow, where they did a show that was shot in Wilmington. And one of the scenes, I don't know if you ever watched it or heard of it. It was on, I think, Fox for a few seasons. And Ichabod Crane, all that stuff got transported to today. Very bizarre theme story. First season was fantastic. The rest of them were kind of, but first season was really good. And so for one of the episodes, I was an extra. Colonial Times. It was dealing with Benedict Arnold and how he switched, became the guy who betrayed America, became Benedict Arnold. Brought that whole like, you're such a Benedict Arnold, that whole thing. You don't hear it as much, but it was one of the things that was said for a while because he was a traitor. That show was really good at taking history and flipping it a little bit to make it more supernatural, which I really liked. That's why I enjoyed the show. But this scene, I volunteered, and I know this is a long ramble. I'm sorry. But it was the scene was so great because I was one of those guys who got my hand up first, and I ended up being able to go in with the stunt guys. And instead of just being background, I got to shoot guns and jump downstairs. And like had a big giant rifle that was about the size of me.
Oh my God!
I'm 6'3", and it was this giant gun, and we were trying to get down. It was awesome.
That's crazy.
Now the downside of it was that I believe since I was so much larger, I was the biggest guy in the room because I was so big and I took up so much space for this scene, it was cut. It didn't make it into the final episode. So because all these guys are much shorter than me, they know what they're doing more. So it's probably them like really intense, and then me like shooting. I wish you guys, as a podcast, could see my face, so you can't really see.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Here, but it was just one of those things. I think it came all across super awkward. Instead, this big doofus jumping down here shooting guns, and it was so much fun. And I saved the guy from like he literally space in the room. It was really small, and so the guy who's the lead man who played Ichabod Crane, I saved him from stepping back into a fire and setting his wig on fire, and so that was fun, and we laughed. And yeah, I think they decided to cut it because I took up too much space. I swear, with my arms all the way across, I think the room, I was almost touching the sides of the wall. Yeah, it was a really small.
That's why all these leading men in Hollywood are so short.
Yes, because they're all short.
That's right.
And they can put them in these small little spaces.
That's exactly right.
And when you have a guy who's 6'3", who's not, a super buff guy, but it's a big difference, especially on a movie screen. Like that guy is massive.
Yeah.
That would not be how tall that guy would be. He would not be jumping down those stairs. He'd be falling and tripping down those stairs. And falling over the guys who had been shot in front of him.
Oh my God.
Yeah, but it was a blast. So, if you ever get to do extra work, or anybody else who listens to this, it's a lot of fun. It's very time consuming and can be very boring, and you may not even get picked to do it. But if you do try to get to the front of the group, if you're walking to change locations, or if you are asked by, hey, who's ready to go to set? Who's ready to do this? Get your hands up. You get those prime positions, and you get to be seen more. And sometimes you get lucky too. And the Walking Dead one, I got to open up the episode, which was so dope when it came on TV. And I remember watching it with Tara, and I was like, oh, that's me. That's me. The first 5 seconds of it, that was like me. And I was like, it's so incredibly cool. Yeah.
I remember watching that episode. I'm a huge fan of that show. I remember watching that episode. And if I had just known back then what I know today, man, I would have been even more excited.
Yeah. Yeah. It was just fun. But me now at 42, like I haven't done any extra work in probably 4 or 5 years. And it's just, I think about it oh, that'd be cool. 'Cause my wife works on Marvel stuff, and like for when she did Spider-Man, the new Spider-Man movie that came out. And so having the chance to do that sounded awesome, but it was shot during quarantine. So I would have had to have quarantined myself for a week.
Oh God.
Which to go for one day on set to maybe be seen or whatever, like it was just not worth it. 'Cause then I'd miss out at school, at work and everything. And so I was like, the heck with it. And so now it's like, you have to drive hours wherever you're going. If it was closer, then I definitely would be like, I would love to be an extra on that movie, or I would love to do some more background work. But it's like, I don't want to drive an hour and a half now. Early or midnight coming home. The hours are just really bizarre.
Yeah, I hear you.
Oh, and I was also in Jungle Cruise.
Oh, I haven't seen that
movie. It's really good.
Is it really good? I'll have to watch that.
Yeah, you'll see the back of my head in that one too.
I will definitely look for you. I will definitely look for you.
I'm near the beginning of it, in the court scene where they're talking. That was the last one I ever was an extra on, by the way.
Okay.
But it was there's a court scene where a bunch of the scholarly individuals are talking about this other guy who's not doing too good, and they don't like his approach of trying to go find this lost city of Zinj or whatever it's called. And I'm a guard, and so at the very end of it, as it's getting ready to transition out of this part, because he's creating a distraction for something else that's happening. I'm not going to spoil it for you because you haven't seen it. As it's leaving that to go focus on that other person, I walk down the middle of the aisle to go chase him off the stage.
Interesting. Okay, yeah. Well, I'll have to watch for you. And
it's a good movie. It's a really good movie.
The funny thing is, you're kind of typecast as somebody that they only show you from behind your head. I don't think you're that unattractive, man. Thanks, man. Scare people off. I've seen much uglier. So I think you need to talk to your wife about maybe becoming a forward facing extra for a change, where we can actually see. I can say, oh, there's Zach, and that's not just the back of his head. I could just be any 6'3" guy that looks like he doesn't belong in that scene because he's so much taller than everybody else. I mean,
Well, The Walking Dead, you see my front, but I'm all in makeup.
Yeah, but you're a freaking zombie. I mean,
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm going to go back and I'm going to watch that episode. I think it was season 2. I can't remember what
season 2 in the barn.
Yeah.
I'm one of the zombies in the barn. Yeah.
It's exciting.
It was so much. That was fun, man. I got a comic that was signed by all the cast that were on set that day.
Oh, no kidding. That's awesome.
Yeah. Cause my artist who did all my makeup, I taught her daughter.
No kidding.
Yeah. And I taught her daughter, and then they moved. And who knows, when like families move from your school, it's not like they're shared with everyone.
Yeah, of course.
She wasn't there the next year. And so they moved to Atlanta, evidently. And so I went down there, took a day off from work, and my buddy who I knew in Wilmington, we went down there and got in the chair, and she came up and started putting makeup on me. And she's like, Coach Bennett, what are you doing here? I'm awesome. Here to be a zombie. And they did me good. And then she went around, and I don't even know where she got the comic book from, but she got one from somewhere and got the whole cast to sign it. And
damn, that's awesome.
And yeah, a lot of them personalized little messages to me as well.
Wow.
It was, I had to stick it inside my clothes to keep, I wasn't going to put it down anywhere because it had been stolen by.
Of course. Yeah.
So it has like blood, because she also would come around and say, oh, you look a little dry, and go like pour like fake blood syrup on me. So there's like red blood stains on this book.
Oh my God.
It has so much personality. That's like, it's one of my most prized like little things that's happened in my life.
You didn't show that to me, man. I would have loved to have seen that.
Yeah. I'll show it to you next time you come over.
Okay. All right. That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah. And then from that thing, I luckily picked the right spot to like open up the episode, because who knows what they're doing. There's like, hey, we want you guys to walk around in certain areas, pick a spot. Everybody picked their spots, and I'm like, shit, where the fuck do I go? Oops, sorry, it's a lot of curse words.
That's all right.
I know you're Captain America, so so I was trying to find a place to stand, and then I did, and where I picked, it was like the lamps from outside, because we were shooting at night. The lamps are coming through the cracks in the boards of the barn, and to show daylight, and it ended up being what they liked and made it the opening part of the segue of the.
That's really cool. Just coincidentally. Yeah, that's cool.
So coincidentally. So it was like really cool experience. And that doesn't happen much with extra work. You don't really get those really cool experiences. They can happen, but it's really slim and none.
Yeah. That's awesome though. That's awesome. Dude, that was awesome. Awesome. Dude, love the stories, love the candor, man. People are going to be really, really excited that we had a celebrity fill in. Phil's going to be like, oh my God, you actually got a movie star to come on the set. Granted, usually the back of your head, but movie star nonetheless. So Zach, thank you for joining, man. I hope you had a good time. I love talking to you. I love hanging out with you. I can't wait to play ball again. Coming up next month. And everybody out there, remember, if you like us, keep watching. If you don't like us, keep watching. Tell your friends. Tell your family. Tell the people you like. Tell the people you don't like. Just spread the word that Phil and the Mike are the place to be. I am working on a lot of other upcoming interviews. We'll definitely have Zach back on. If you want to come back on, you're welcome to join us again. And next time we'll have Phil here so that you can meet him.
I'll try not to ramble as much.
No, it's cool. But listen, man, you just turned 42. So happy birthday to you.
Thank you.
And happy birthday to our man, Phil, who finally joined the 40 Club. And when I turned 40, I don't remember taking off a week to celebrate my birthday. All right.
I didn't realize you turned 40. I thought you were still in your 30s.
Yeah. No, it's but I'm a little less than 14 months from 50. So I'm not really excited about that. So everybody, thanks for tuning in. And we will look forward to seeing you next week, where we will probably give you an update on the baseball season. It looks like it's going to be delayed a little bit, but hope everybody has a great weekend. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time on Phil and the Mike.
Thanks, guys.